The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
and this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
All right, welcome to the show. Everybody here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
So-
not Mike, but
Not Mike, but the three of us are here, which this is good. I'm glad because we've started a new tradition where none of us are always here at the same time. So all four of us would make me nervous.
Well-
Zach was just, I don't know if you want to get into it on the air or not, but that's some scary stuff that you were talking
Yeah,
about.
we're dealing with it's fire season, of course, here in Southern California, and we finally the fires have hit Orange County starting this morning in Irvine, which is like Irvine was this grand master planned suburbia community. It's owned by the Irvine Company, and it's all kind of laid out that way. It's kind of utopian in design, supposedly. But yeah, the winds, the Santa Ana winds really picked up today, and so this fire kind of grew exponentially due to the fires and our extremely dry year that we've had. After we actually had a couple good years of rain, and it's been really dry over the last year, so that all that goodwill with the weather gods went away. And the problem with the winds is not only does it spread the fire so fast, but when they were as strong as they were this morning and have continued to be, the high winds don't allow for you to bring in the air support. So they tried using the air support early on, but the winds just got kind of bigger and bigger and bigger. And so they haven't been able to use the helicopters and planes like they normally would to try and contain this thing. So there's plenty of kindling out there for it to catch, and it's catching. It's already spouted out a second fire to the north of it on the Orange County, Riverside County border. Yorba Linda, home of Richard Nixon and his library. That's the only thing you would know it for. But yeah, it's one of those days where I look out the window and the palm trees are swaying very heavily in the breeze, and it's gray and brown and really gross. So
That is just frightening as hell to me.
it really is.
yeah.
The orange sun is something that you will never get used to.
As I said before we came on the air, of all the natural disasters, tornado, hurricane, bad storms, this and that, a fire like that would be the one that would just, because I don't know what you do. I mean, like
Just
with a
gotta
tornado,
get out of the way.
in a tornado, you can go to your basement and, God willing, your house will still be there when the tornado passes through 3 minutes later or whatever. Hurricane, you go to shelter and this and that. With a fire, it's like, okay, you can get away, but then you come back, there's nothing left. I mean, literally, like nothing. It's just scary as hell to me.
Yeah, like my girlfriend's the one that's there. It's not coming towards my house, thankfully. But she was even saying, like, looking around at the stuff she's trying to pick up, just in case they have to go. Like, you look around and you say, well, what is actually important to me in this house? And you realize that there's a lot of the things that you have in your house is just stuff.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to make amends with that and kind of get on with it. Hope the insurance takes care of it. But, crossing our fingers. I haven't seen, they're supposed to be giving an update right now. I haven't seen anything that's really changed it. But, it's a densely populated area. So as much as it's not good to say, like, the houses slow down the fire, the houses do slow down the fire. So, like, it burns through all that dry brush really quickly. But, the homes take a little bit longer to burn. That's when they can start, like, setting up their fire lines and really kind of protecting these neighborhoods as best they can. As far as I know, no houses have caught on fire in Orange County yet. But
as if 2020 didn't suck enough already.
Yeah, yeah, just another thing to add to the list, right? And again, it's we're just about to hit November, so we still got 2 months. I'm not tempting fate anymore. It's kind of what I've learned.
Oh, well, you're more than welcome, Jim. One of our friends from the board. So thank you for letting my Monday afternoon not suck. I guess I can put that on the screen so the people don't think I'm lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Our pleasure, bud. We're glad you're listening.
If there's one good thing that's come out of 2020, it's that we've welcomed Andy back into the regular.
Yes, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just I mean, I don't know. With me returning, it's more of like it was the whole situation was kind of like, it's Monday. I don't do anything on Mondays.
Yeah, you're at home. Where are you going?
Wait a minute. What have I been doing the last couple of years? I'm not doing shit. I need to. But well, I feel bad because initially I was like, I'm going to give Zach some shit about the Rams and.
I know. I was ready to come in here guns blazing too. I was ready to go.
I mean, you got enough blazing going on out there.
Yeah.
I was looking at a. I guess they have a fires map for California, like a fire tracker, and I'm trying to like get an idea of where. You said you're by Irvine because it's fire.ca.gov is where I'm looking. And they have there's so many fires. Yeah. The amount of fires is incredible. Like there's I don't know how they kind of it's pretty cool as far as like government run update page goes. But I'm looking down here by
it's something that we've unfortunately had to put a decent amount of resources
into. I was just
you
going to say that there's a reason it's good is because there's so much of it they had to.
Yeah.
And that's bad, but I can't
so if you're looking for it, it's in Orange County, just south of LA. It's there should be like a giant gap of nothing that's between us and San Diego. That's Camp Pendleton. So north of the nothing and south of the everything. Is kind of...
Okay, yeah, because there's one that's just like a smallish one that's by Irvine.
Yeah,
I mean smallish from the map of the United States perspective. It's probably many acres, but north of that, like many miles north of that, it looks up by a Angeles National Forest, I think. Yeah, there's a huge. It looks like it's all among trees and woodland and stuff like that, like a nature preserve.
Yeah,
Jesus.
It's the thing with these fires is that they happen so frequently now, and they do get as big as they do that. Like, I'm sure that there's always some burning, and it's just kind of like it's part of your normal summer fare in California, and especially as we get now into the as we transition into fall, where it's still really not. It obviously doesn't get cold necessarily, but it's dry, and the heat has been baking the grasslands for several months now, and especially now with a whole lot of people not being out and about, the grasslands maybe aren't as worn down as they might be otherwise. So there's plenty of tinder out there, and it's unfortunately catching, and the winds don't help.
I just want to say that I think North of the Nothing and South of the Everything is a great album title or a book title.
Be my memoir. But yeah,
story, North of the Nothing, South of the Everything.
I don't know what we can get into about this football game tonight because it hasn't started.
Yeah, we got about an hour and change, and it'll still probably run a little late. But
two teams that are still trying to prove themselves in this wild and weary NFL landscape.
Where's it at? Where's it being played? LA or Chicago?
LA.
In Los Angeles.
Yeah. I got to go with the Rams at home. I mean, that's the only...
And based on the warm-ups, I didn't think this was the case. The Rams are wearing yellow pants. So
okay. I was looking at their uniform schedule, and I thought they were all blue, but I guess once they got these soul pants, they're like getting those into the mix. So whatever.
I was worried that it was going to be an all-blue matchup as well, but it looked like Aaron Donald was wearing the yellow pants underneath his shorts when they just showed him. So hopefully you get the better of the crap looks that we have.
I think it's safe to say that the Atlanta Falcons gradient uniforms were a swing and a miss.
Oh my god! Do you guys? I thought of this when I was watching highlights from that game. Do you guys remember the old electronics store, Circuit City?
Yes,
they look like Circuit City employees with the red top and the black pants. I'm like, it's a Circuit City football team.
Can we officially just fold that franchise?
Oh my god!
Like,
what?
God.
Here we go. Let's.
I mean, it's.
And beyond, like, it didn't help that they were playing the all gray Lions. Like, ugh, look at that.
Yeah, I just don't know what the thinking. I mean, it looks awful. I'm trying to find a better picture of the Falcons, like a full body picture, but it's just all them flailing. Here we go. Like,
yeah, that's a good example of the undershirt problem that we talked about a while ago, where it actually bisects the stripe. So
yeah,
you
it
lose
ruins the
that
look.
whole element. Yeah,
It's not a stripe, Zach. It's a stoop. Remember that.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I forgot.
Let's get it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were horrible. The thing about this too is with the new uniforms, I kind of like the new helmet, but the rest of it's just a straight up disaster.
Bad.
Kind of like the team.
Yeah.
Literally, how only the Falcons could lose a game by scoring a touchdown.
Right. I'm always of the mindset that if you can score, you should score. But maybe yesterday with the Falcons, maybe not so much. Mike is now here.
Are we talking about the 96% chance blow to win? It happened. Granted, it wasn't it wasn't like a huge lead this time, but still.
Look, I was thinking about this yesterday, that I think there would be no better city in the country right now to be a neutral football fan than Atlanta. Because at the very least, you're getting some wild games. Like you're getting to watch some crazy football. If you're a Falcons fan, it sucks, but it's fun otherwise.
Isn't that the fourth game that they've lost after they've had the lead this year? Third.
Yeah, there was the Dallas game with the onside kick that they all just watched like idiots, and then there was the blown Bears game, and then now this one.
Wow.
And they were tight against Carolina, but it wasn't.
Yeah, they didn't really blow anything against Carolina.
Yeah.
It might just be time to pack it up with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, they've already fired some people, and they'll do more at the end of the year. But I mean, I've never seen a defense celebrate the offense scoring a touchdown.
My favorite picture was the Todd Gurley, like he was running a yard from the end zone, was like, oh, like shit, and like tried to fall down, and all the Lions around him like, no, touchdown, right? You got that, right? That's a touchdown.
The Lions like, yeah, he got in, and they're like, it's like, wait, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
But
You know what? I'm sure you guys have brought this up already, but I just wanted to say it. My chance to say it. That picture's hilarious. It's like he's so desperate. He's like he's on the ground. Like, please no. The defense is like he's in.
Because even if you watch the highlight, one of the lines that's chasing him, he's about to tackle him, and then he stops. He's like, "Oh wait, no, let him go."
But no, I just wanted to say, thank God this happened in those uniforms. Like, just chef's kiss, just brilliant.
Mike, I don't know if you were listening, if you could hear us, but I said that they looked like they were all Circuit City employees. You remember Circuit City with the red polo and the black pants that they all wore?
We had Future Shop, but I think it was the same outfit.
Yeah, so that's what they reminded me of. Was Circuit City had a football team, and here we are.
Well, in the end, they made the gradient end zone, which just made me go like, "Oh fuck you!" Like just.
Oh, here we go.
This is just to show you what happened.
Yeah.
There's no sound here, but essentially you just get a nice slow mo of Todd Gurley going, "Oh shit, there's a hole," and even the Lions defender was like, Wait, no. God damn it.
Oh, watch Zach. I wonder if he had to run because of his girlfriend. Well, we'll find out.
Maybe, yeah.
I was gonna make a joke about the Atlanta Falcons drones, but like I wouldn't worry about them if they were real.
Or I mean, Zach.
Oh, dude, all they do is crash into the building and be done.
Yeah, Zach said his internet wasn't the greatest tonight either, but he may have to do some stuff related to the California wildfires out.
So all you need to do, by the way, is go to Google and type in Atlanta Falcons touchdown. And the first result from SB Nation, Falcons Todd Gurley accidentally scored a game-losing touchdown.
Well, you know what? I mean, I get like it gave the Lions more time and stuff, but I'm sorry, but you score a touchdown, you have to stop the other team at that point. I mean, I guess the smarter move would have been to wait for the field goal, but that's all well and good. But you put 7 on the board, And then they went for 2 for reasons I still don't understand.
This team, man.
Because I think they wanted to make sure that they were going to be up by 7 instead. Because
they were up by 6, though. It was 22-16. Because the final score was 23-22. They scored. They had 14 when they scored the accidental. No, wait.
No,
I don't know. Whatever, but who knows? I mean, it was a clown show from start to finish. So what difference does it make?
Because I didn't see the end until afterwards. I was just kind of following it remotely. But I went back and looked at the play-by-play of like how the hell that happened. Like the Lions still got like 2 30-yard passing plays on that final drive. Like, yes, of course, if you don't score, you just run out the clock and the game's over. But you're right. Play some damn defense. Like, it's the Lions. It's not like...
Yeah, no, again, that's the thing. It's like, play some damn defense. You should be able to stop the Detroit Lions of all teams. Like...
Yeah, so 16-22, and there was, I guess, some sort of penalty here. Let's move things up a little bit.
Yeah, so they were only up by 6. So they wanted
here's
to...
the final... Yeah. So, right, go ahead.
They won the game? I don't know.
There's the game winner right there. So,
yeah, how wide open was that, dude? Come on.
Well, I mean, it's the Falcons. You know,
fair point.
I mean, they've been dog shit this year. Like,
I want to go back to the gradient uniforms for a second because who was it? Zach, I think, sent a great picture from a tweet yesterday, and I've got to read this quote because it's hilarious. It's from Wes Blankenship. Many have hated on the Falcons' gradient uniforms, but they incorporate the franchise's history into the design. Pretty cool. The red top represents a fourth quarter lead over other teams, and as you'll notice, it fades away and dissolves into the black bottomless pit of defeat.
I made almost that exact joke when the uniforms were unveiled. Only I said it was about how they went from in the black to in the red.
Yeah.
So, like, god damn.
That's a good point, Chaos Blast. That's a very good point. But again, they're still good enough. It's the Detroit Lions, for Pete's sake. It's not. Yeah. They weren't trying to stop like Tom Brady and the Bucs, or I don't know who has the good the Mahomes and the Chiefs. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can give credit. I mean, Matt Stafford is still very good at football. Like, his career has been wasted in Detroit. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I mean, but to Chaos Blast's point, as far as like, you know, they don't play football, they don't play defense. Now, I really do not buy into any generational football arguments to where it's, you know, because there's like many people who have said that, you know, they back in the 80s, they would hit somebody real hard and they could break their neck, and that's just football. Now you can't even touch them. I mean, because guys are dying and guys are paralyzed, and people are in their 50s and drooling and shooting themselves. And
there's plenty of teams that can play defense. And there's plenty of great defensive players right now. It's just
to defend Chaos Blast, though, there have been significant rule changes since, and reason for that being part of it for like more scoring, obviously, but another part of it was safety. I mean, you're right. In the 70s, I saw hits that I was like, there's a famous hit from a Brown Steelers game from way back when I was a kid. And this guy named Turkey Joe Jones picked up Terry Bradshaw.
Turkey Joe Jones.
Yeah, look it up, Andy. Look it up and play the clip. If you can see
that is a football name.
I've got a picture of him. I was walking.
Don't make them like they do.
Was it Terry Bradshaw?
Yes, and when you see this hit, I mean, he basically planted his head into the ground. So yeah, you can't really allow that, and I understand that, but if we can show it here, it's amazing. It's like I was watching the game with my dad. My dad's like, "Oh my god, they just killed Bradshaw." Let's see if we can find it here.
I got it ready. Yeah.
All right, here we go. So take it here. Here we go. So watch this hit.
German suplex coming up here.
I mean, come on. Watch Bradshaw. Like kind of quivers. He's like, "Oh, Jesus."
So that's a 65-yard penalty in today's football.
Right. So for those who are, you know, listening to the audio version of this, essentially he has him from behind. It's really like a Brock Lesnar German suplex where he just dumps Terry Bradshaw on the top of his head.
Yeah. Except it wasn't set up to protect Terry Bradshaw. He just did it. And then there was a guy that played for the Patriots. This was back in, again, I was a kid, but his name was Darryl Stingley. He was a really good wide receiver. And this guy, Jack Tatum, from the Raiders, laid him out. And I don't know if you want to show that one or not. It's pretty rough.
Let me take a look here.
Stingley was paralyzed from the neck down after that hit.
Uh,
So yeah, you want to go. They don't play defense as well, and part of it's because it's probably a good thing they don't play like they used to. But rule changes and all that. So like to Andy's point, the era thing, it's kind of tough to make the argument because it's just a different game, and I think in a lot of ways a lot safer. It's still not perfect, but it's better.
Yeah, we should no.
No, I don't think we should show the Stingley hit. That was
That's-
pretty rough.
And I would argue that with today's defensive scheming and just kind of all the thought they put into it, I think defenses today would just obliterate some of those old teams.
Oh, offense, sure, yeah. I mean, you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that like that Steelers team that we watched in that first clip, that team was a running team that threw when it had to. They had Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris in the backfield, and that was basically their offense. And they'd throw long to the receivers. They'd get slaughtered today. I mean, it's just because the offense is just so much more complex, and you just can't. Oh, here we go. What do we got?
So you want to talk about dirty hits in the NFL?
Oh Jesus, yeah. This
So-
one. Like he's already down. Like
Yeah.
there is no reason to follow up on that hit.
Yeah. So
Like,
that's-
I would be surprised if Andy Dalton played another down of football after that one.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
rough, man. Watch
Again,
that.
again for the audio listeners, it's the hit on Andy Dalton where he's sliding down and what's his name, John Bostic.
John Bostic, former Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just he like his ass is already on the ground, and Bostic is following him to the ground, seemingly like launches into his head, and he hits him in the helmet, and then his helmet bounces off the turf too. So
Was that
it's that double whammy whiplash.
Was that Carson Palmer who had a similar hit where it basically ended, it was a dirty hit that
Yeah.
ended his season
It was
1 year?
yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe that was the playoffs or something. It was something very significant
No,
moment.
it was
It was that year that the Cardinals went, I don't know, 11-5 or something. He got hurt
Yeah.
before the playoffs, right? Yeah.
right.
And
yeah,
then they
it
had,
was
and
with
then
the
their
Cardinals.
backup got injured before the playoffs, and so they were in with their third stringer. What was his name?
Like Red Skelton or something like
Yes.
that.
John Skelton. John Skelton. Yeah.
John Skelton. It was like
Close
John
enough.
Skelton starts a playoff game. Oh my god!
Yeah.
We were only 3 phone calls away from one of us taking that
Yeah.
job that year.
But like that's a devastating hit. But man, the Cowboys are cooked.
I mean,
Oh, boy.
look, I was fully on board with what happened because you know what? We needed to keep the Cowboys below 3 wins, and it happened.
Yeah, and now they're looking for a new quarter. I forget who the third stringer that came in was. His name was like Danucci or something like that.
Ned Skelton or whatever his name was.
Like, but beyond like Andy Dalton going out, like that team looked terrible. Like, did you see Zeke Elliott get blown up on a block?
Was was Dak really the glue?
I think so.
Because
You know what, though?
It's not even him being the glue in terms of like making the team better with his offensive skill. I just think that when he goes down and now the team starts losing and you have a new coach, the whole locker room has just fallen apart. It seems like they're really kind of like snipping at each other over there now too.
Yeah, the Cowboys allegedly, from what I've seen, just poking around online, is they believe that they have lost the locker room already. Like McCarthy's only been coached for like 5 games or whatever, how many games, and he's completely.
I've heard
lost
that
the team.
I've heard that the players are kind of like they don't even know, like the coaches don't know what they're doing. Like it's complete just
Wow,
anarchy.
you say that after Jason Garrett. That's pretty harsh criticism.
And plus, Mike McCarthy had a year off to kind of get his shit together and
Yeah.
inherits a pretty decent overall team. I mean, a lot of people would kill to work for the Cowboys, weirdly enough, and then you do this.
I heard something that basically said he kind of lied his way through the interview.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He basically was
How
like,
do you?
"Yeah,
What
no,
is there to lie about though? Like you
Well,
just be like, I
when
won a
you take-
Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. Like I don't know.
But he took that year off, and then he's like, "Oh well, yes, I understand analytics, and I'm thinking differently about the game, and all that sort of stuff that people want to hear now when you're an old school type football coach, and you really don't have a grasp on how any of this stuff works, and now you're stuck,
Yeah.
And
Well, you think about it. If you're out of this game for a solid year, it doesn't sound like a long time, but McCarthy wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed before he left for a year. I mean, how much of it passes you by that quickly? Because this league, I mean, it looks the same, but it's constantly evolving, constantly changing. And
I mean,
he was having his problem. He had one of the best quarterbacks ever with Aaron Rodgers and still couldn't get shit done.
Well, he won a Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Yeah, what,
One-
10 years
one-
ago?
Yeah, I mean-
it was the only one he got to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and to say Aaron Rodgers, I mean, as much as I despise for what he does against the Bears, I mean, there are fewer quarterbacks who will maybe. I mean, he's the best fourth quarter quarterback I've ever seen, and he has one of the best arms I've ever seen. And he should have had at least a couple, and he may still win another one. But I mean, Mike McCarthy certainly didn't maximize, getting the most out of that incredible talent.
I agree with that completely.
But speaking of incredible talent, probably should take a look at this here. Go ahead and put it up here on the screen. The majesty that was the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants, Daniel Jones.
Oh, look at
Danny
him go!
Dimes!
Look at him go!
Everyone, everyone.
By the way, as we're watching this, I want everyone to just take a look at the records on the score bug. 1-5, 1-4-1.
Yeah, but good-looking Giants uniforms, though. You got to give them that.
Oh yeah, no, they look the aesthetics for the Giants are beautiful. The Eagles ruined it with mono black.
Yeah, but look at this. This is awesome. Come on.
He actually reached an incredible top speed here, but it was one of those things to where you can see where his feet kind of betray him. And I feel like I've had dreams like that where you lose, you can feel yourself losing your footing, but poor guy. I mean that's the NFC East for you.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. It's this division in a nutshell. We're again, the team leading the division, the Eagles, are only leading the division by points percentage because
of a tie.
Because they punted for a tie.
They punted in overtime.
Punted for a tie, and that is why they're leading the division. If they had really gone for it and lost, then they'd be 2-6 like everybody else in that division.
If you think about it, with Dallas being I don't know. There was Bill Simmons and Cousin Sal were talking about they should trade for Jameis Winston. The Cowboys should, and then they listed some of the other quarterbacks that were out there, and I thought, wow, the Cowboys could really maybe not win another game all season. So that takes them right out of the mix.
Is it too late for Jerry Jones to call up Cap?
Well, my thing with this is that with the Cowboys being out of the picture, it might clear the path for the Eagles to win more than 6 games, just because that division is so horrible.
No. Because the thing that we pointed out before, I think the only teams the only games that these teams are going to be favored against are games in their own division.
Yeah,
I don't think they don't get the Jets or any of those other bad teams. I think this is what they're working with, and that's why we were talking about the potential of a 6-10 winner, is because I don't think any of these teams are going to beat anybody outside of the division. I just don't see where it happens.
Actually, 6-10 might be a bit much for that division at this point.
Well, that's what I'm saying too.
Look, I'm holding out for 5-11. I would love to see 5-11, but I don't want to be greedy. All right, I'm setting it at 6-10. If it ends up being 5-11, then I'll just be over the moon.
The Eagles are that first place team. Let me tell you their schedule for the rest of the year.
If they win this thing at 6-9-1, it's going to be
if that
stupid punt.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Cowboys Eagles is locked into Sunday Night Football this week, so get ready for that nonsense.
No!
Wow!
No!
After the game they had last night, they got to go to that.
So
how are they going to hype that? That's what I want to know.
I don't. So I'm not going to list off the
division
division
used to be
games.
pretty good years ago.
I'm not going to list off the division games because we know what those are. So their non-divisional opponents are Cleveland, in Cleveland. They're hosting Seattle.
Oh
no, that's a loss.
At the Packers.
Oh,
hosting the Saints. And at the Cardinals.
They should just forfeit all of them right now. Just go home.
That's the Eagles. Let me. I guess we'll pull up Dallas. Not
that doesn't matter. I think Jim brought up a good point that DK Metcalf running down Baker today in that Cardinals game. Can we find that?
Yeah, I got it ready for you here.
Okay.
It's pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong. Watching some of the highlights of the Seahawks is incredible right now. I mean, Russell Wilson is something else, man. He's on a bender.
By the way, when we're talking about teams that could win outside the division, maybe it's the Fighting Washingtons.
The 32s?
32s, yeah.
They play the Lions and the Bengals in back-to-back weeks.
Look out.
I don't know. The Lions did beat that powerhouse Atlanta team. So
Yes.
Yeah, the 32s might be the sleeper in that division, or football team
Maybe.
that they're listed as on NFL scores on NFL.com.
I love that
only
Cardinals
take
versus football team.
It may only take 6. You never know.
Well, I don't know,
Hell, it might only take 5.
I think that if the Eagles are going to do it, I want it to be at 5-10-1. There's got to be 10 losses, or it really doesn't count because we've had 9 loss winners before. But let's look at DK Metcalf just putting on the afterburners here.
So pretty incredible stuff here. There's no audio here. So there's a little lob pass, bam. And I mean, it's pretty incredible
Look
how
where he started too. Look at that.
Look at this. Look at this. I mean, that's pretty incredible speed. And the thing is, Baker, he's like, he has a split second where he looks at the like Jumbotron or whatever to see if he's being chased, but by then it's too late. Metcalf's already like put on the burners and got after him. But that's pretty impressive on both sides. You got a really incredible, nearly a pick 6 from inside your own 5 to Metcalf over here, all the way in the far side of the field, who's coming back around in and then has to go all the way back upfield on the other way, go in the other direction to pull down Baker.
I mean, look at there's nobody in the screen, and all of a sudden there he is.
Yeah, the best part about that too is that was actually a great play because the Cardinals went for it on 4th down on the ensuing drive after that, didn't score.
Yeah.
Wow.
Although it didn't end up mattering because the Russell Wilson finally lost a couple hairs off that rabbit's foot last night, which was nice to see.
Yeah, thank God for that. I couldn't handle it if the Seahawks went undefeated. I wouldn't be able to deal with it.
Well, but Odell Beckham Jr. is out for the year, so the Browns are, even though they're coming off a strong win,
Cue up
not
the
a
hot
strong
take.
win.
Cue up the hot take machine here. I think that's actually going to help the Browns.
Really?
As good as that guy, yeah, I do, because I think that he's just so good that you feel like you have to get him the ball. And I don't think that really plays to Baker Mayfield. I don't know if Baker Mayfield has any strengths, but if he has any, one of them might be that he likes to spread it around. And I mean, look at what, again, I'm not saying A cause B here, but after Odell got hurt, Baker went like 18 passes in a row and 22 out of 23 with 5 touchdown passes. I mean, that's against Cincinnati, so your mileage may vary, but I don't think it's the worst thing for the Browns. And I hate to see him go, but I also don't think that it's going to hurt them as bad as people think it's going to, if that makes sense.
Let's see. I'm pulling up the standings here, and if you want to, we can. Are we still eligible for Fool's Gold at this point in the season?
Sure, if you want it.
Why not?
Because I think the Browns are fool's gold.
All right, here we go.
Everything that glitters is not gold. I love gold.
All righty.
I mean, look, you say Fool's Gold. I think they're still a playoff team in the AFC. With that extra spot, I think they make it in.
I think they're one of the good bad teams. Like we have the bad good teams and we have the good bad teams. I think they're a good bad team.
And we've gone over their schedule. Their schedule is very, very winnable. Like they're at 5.
The schedule is very winnable, yeah. But then you look at who they've beaten versus who's beaten them, and you look at like when they play the real teams, they get destroyed.
But that's the thing. They don't have any real teams to play. Like, and the ones that they do, it's not enough to take them completely out of the playoff picture.
No. I fully expect them to make the playoffs. I'm just saying that once the playoffs are underway, I don't think they're going to do anything.
No,
well, not only that, but I don't know what their schedule is the rest of the way. But what do they got? 8 games left. 9 games left. They're going to at least 2 stupid losses in there, just because. Like they'll probably lose to the Eagles just because.
No, we did.
They can't. If the Browns fuck this up for me, Greg, I'm never going to forgive them. If the Browns
we went over their schedule last week, and I think we determined that even with the dumb losses, like give the advantage of a dumb loss or 2, they're still right there. Like unless they truly shit themselves.
They're the Indiana Hoosiers of the Big Ten. It's like you go, wow, they beat Northwestern by 35. Right. Look at them go. And then they play Michigan or Ohio State. They lose 70-2.
Don't knock the Hoosiers, man. They knocked off Penn State this weekend.
Oh, I love anybody that beats Penn State. I really do.
That was an amazing game. That dive to the pylon in overtime.
I didn't watch any of it.
Give me that.
I was busy watching the Buckeyes sleepwalk their way through to a win versus Nebraska.
The highest rated football game of the season, by the way.
Ohio State and Nebraska? Was it really?
It was on. I thought it was on Fox.
It was, but
yeah, no, the
I'm looking at the standings here, and I'm seeing what the Dolphins are 3-3. They've won 2 in a row, so kudos to them. They're still behind the Bills.
Fitzpatrick lost his job.
Yes, and he bitched and moaned about it.
I don't like. I like Tua. I'm happy for him, but I don't know what they saw in the 2 passes he threw that they said.
Not only,
you know what? Now's the time.
Not only that,
the only reason he went in is because Fitzpatrick had a great game and they beat the team they were playing.
Yeah, not only that, but like Fitzpatrick has actually been playing some of the best football of his career lately. So I'm not sure why they went to Tua, but
this is a kid that's coming off a dislocated, broken hip. Like, let him just sit there and learn.
Sounds like an injury one of his coaches should have had, not him. Somebody that's 75.
But since we're in the Dolphins neighborhood, I want to bring up another fool's gold team, the Bills.
You think?
The Bills won.
They barely beat the Jets.
They beat the Jets on 6 field goals.
They barely beat the Jets. All right.
Well, okay, barely. The offense wasn't there, but the defense was there. The Jets
Against the Jets,
the Jets, I think, got 4 yards of offense in the second half.
Congratulations! Really? They had a good defensive showing against. Look, they lost 2 in a row, and then they needed 6 field goals to beat the Jets. I'm sorry, I'm not like this is. I'm not expecting much out of Buffalo long term. Like we said it was going to happen.
Yeah, but with the Dolphins being kind of meh and the Patriots, going down in the tank, the Bills are going to win that division.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain point where you have to say, being a Bears fan, I have gotten very familiar with this to where it's like, at what point do you say, well, they're the worst 7-1 team I've ever seen? It's like, well, they're 7-1, so something matters here. Another team that stands out to me as I'm looking over the standings of the New Orleans Saints. They've won 3 in a row, 2 of which the last 2 have been by a field goal over 2 pretty good teams, Chargers and the Panthers. What do you think about these guys? They're sneaking up behind the Bucs.
The Saints are going to have problems. I mean, they're always going to have questions of Drew Brees. I didn't see the game that they just had, so I don't know if he managed to throw any, long balls. But I think they're going to be. I think the Saints are good. I don't know how good they are, but they're definitely
The Saints are fine. They're not great though. Like they could have very easily lost that game. The Panthers were right there. They missed a field goal to tie late.
Where did I hear that there are talks that they might trade? What's his name? The receiver, Michael Thomas.
Oh, I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah, no.
There was actually I heard
that unless they were trying to tank.
I heard that from 2 legitimate sources, which you don't know how legit it is, but the actual talk. But yeah, it wasn't like some guy on the board's going, "Hey, they should trade Michael Thomas," and me going, "I'm going to say that on the show tonight."
He's the only thing that makes their passing game tick. Like Breeze is fine, but he's clearly like this is his last go. Like I would be surprised if Drew Brees is playing football next season.
Now,
it looks like with the Saints, as far as Michael Thomas goes, that was regarding he got into an altercation at practice and he's been battling injuries. So I guess they're just trying to maximize his value, I guess.
Okay, well,
but who knows? I mean, it sounds unlikely though.
Oh, speaking of the NFC South, the Bucs looking pretty good.
Yeah,
here we go.
And not only that, Tom Brady, I believe, set the record for passing TDs.
I will not let you start espousing Tom Brady records, Mike. I sat here listening to you berate him for years. I will not let you get away with that. Oh yes, my Tom Brady. Look at that record for my Tom Brady.
Yeah, and now you've got Antonio Brown coming into the mix.
Yeah, that'll work out well.
Yeah,
and this to me tells me one thing: that Antonio Brown joining the Bucs. All it tells me is that Bruce Arians just doesn't give a shit anymore. He's done what Belichick had the strength to do for all his years, to tell Tom Brady to basically mind his fucking business. And instead, at this point, Bruce Arians is like, you know what? I'm fucking old. I don't care. Tom, do you want AB? Okay, just go get him. Just whatever.
Yeah, my checks aren't bouncing. I don't give a fuck what you do.
Look,
And like
when the Super Bowl is won, then we'll we'll talk.
Look, let me tell you something here, TB2.
It's TB12.
But I'm calling you TB2 as in Junior.
Oh, okay.
Burn.
When I was a New York Rangers fan, and I fucking hated Eric Lindros. So you know what happened when he came to the Rangers? I still fucking hated him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to think of another player that happened to me with but
Eric Lindros wasn't the GOAT.
Well, neither is Tom Brady, but we won't go down that road today.
No, but like the thing with the AD thing too is like he played that one game with the Patriots last year, and it was good, but it's like, why would you want to deal with him for the one game you had against the Dolphins of all teams last year? Like, what is this?
How many years is Brady's contract? 2, 3 years?
It's two.
Yeah. So is this just like a big retirement tour where it's basically just like play the hits, bring in all the guys that Tom wants to throw to for one last run? You know, it's what it feels like.
Position, I guess, but like, yeah.
Because they missed a bunch of field goals. Mike never dumped the charge.
I think what sucks about this is that Tom Brady had the chance to walk away a champion on numerous occasions and he never did. And so now what's going to happen is that he's going to have the same old song and dance retirement show where he goes and he's playing out his career. And you know what? Somebody's going to lay him the fuck out and he's not going to get back up. It's going to be like Brett Favre when he was playing for the Vikings.
I mean, you're all saying that, but I'm just saying the Bucs are doing pretty well this year. It's not like he's been old man humble and Tom Brady.
Brett Favre was good on the Vikings that one year, and then he went to the Jets.
All we need Tom to do is win the Super Bowl this year, and then it won't matter.
I just want to point out that everyone else is bashing Brady. You haven't heard me say a word, have you? Because I know better. I've made that mistake too many times over the course of the show.
Look, Zach.
I'm not saying he's bad now either, but like I'm just saying that I cannot stand here and just let Mike.
Look, Zach. This is a different Mike. I've gotten rid of my strawberries, and
it's that humidity. It's finally gone to your head.
I've gotten my focus pills.
It's finally baked your brain like humidity. Just boiled it.
This is so funny.
Jesus.
Good Lord.
Look. All right. Truth be told, all kidding aside,
this Tampa Sans has really gotten like too.
This Tampa Sans. Look. All cards on the table. No kidding aside. Yeah, it's still Tom Brady. He's still insufferable. But after the years of rooting for the Chargers, man, all right, I'm just happy that I have like a winning team to like follow. All right, I'm just happy for this. Yeah, so I'm just gonna take it. I'm gonna enjoy it as long as
you made your deal with the devil.
I get my deal with the devil.
Whoops, sorry.
I would sooner be dealing with how good Justin Herbert looks for the Chargers, even though they're in the wrong city, than selling your soul with the NWO Hollywood down in Tampa Bay. I mean, that's really what it is.
This is Mike's heel turn. I've ripped the Bash shirt off. And there's an NWO shirt underneath.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Sadly.
The thing about
creamsicle NWO shirt.
The thing about is that Gronk is actually like productive.
Yeah,
he was the one that sat out an entire year.
Gronk just. Well, he didn't start off productive. Like right. There's that thing after a few weeks where people were asking like Gronk hasn't gotten the ball and he was like, hey, I'm just here to block, and then he ended up he's been catching touchdowns lately. So yeah,
WWE superstar.
That former 24/7 champion, Gronk, actually. But it's actually going to be really interesting because at the Walmarts around Tampa, they've been selling the Tom Brady and Gronkowski T-shirt jerseys, right? I'm curious to see if they start printing any AB ones.
I really doubt it. It would be a risky move at best. to do that.
But no,
I just think the AB thing is Brady. This is the second time Brady has brought him in now. First with the Patriots, now with the Bucs. So I don't know what his fascination is. I mean, you've got pretty good receivers in Tampa already with Evans and Godwin, and AB's been out of the league what 2-3 years now. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I think less than 2 years.
Two years.
Yeah, because he didn't report to camp right after he was cut after camp, essentially, or during training camp with the Raiders.
Was that last year?
Straw.
Was that last fall?
I feel like those last, yeah, because the Raiders were on Hard Knocks,
right,
and that was the last time
the Raiders were on Hard Knocks, and then that whole thing fell apart, and he went to the Patriots, and then
for one game against the Dolphins, right?
And then he had that one game, and then the Patriots cut him after the sexual harassment allegations came out, and then he sat out the rest of the year.
Okay,
and then. There were reports that he was going to sign with the Seahawks.
That's right.
Well, I remember last year. Originally, there were reports that the Saints wanted to sign him for the playoffs, and the league told them no. And then this season, there were reports that he was going to sign with the Seahawks, and then out of nowhere, he signed with Tampa.
I wonder. Well, because a big part of the deal with him in Oakland was the helmet deal, because he didn't want to come back because they.
Okay, I think we all know that he didn't want to play for Oakland, and that was just the bullshit excuse that he rolled out.
I don't know. From what I took in of that situation, it felt, because it reminded me a lot of like a hockey player thing, to where they're like they're very, very sacrosanct about their equipment, and to the point beyond being anal retentive, to where it's like, I will not play unless I get to wear this one thing or whatever.
I definitely get that, but the reason why I think in retrospect that it was bullshit in his case is because have they found a model of that helmet and pewter that he's suddenly okay with?
Well, that's what I don't know. I was curious because with the Raiders, he actually came back to practice. He found one, but it was still the wrong one, or else it was like they painted it weird or something. He was trying to smuggle in a fake helmet.
He showed up at practice with his old Steelers helmet that he painted silver. But it was like sloppily painted silver. It was like you could see the splotches on it.
Well, that should be interesting. So, when does he start playing with them next week, or do we know? Is he going to take?
I have no idea because like everything is so thrown out of whack because of COVID. Because like they now have you have all the stuff that you have to do when you sign with a team plus COVID protocols.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Honestly, next week would be a good time for him to come in because they play the Giants.
Oh, there you go.
So, that's a real bullshit game that you can really afford to just experiment with AB for a game to see what happens because it's the fucking Giants. So who cares?
He says that now, and watch what happens when the Giants win next week.
Oh, this is kind of interesting. So I've been reading this kind of a little bit about Antonio Brown, trying to find out when he'd be actually joining the team. And Bruce Arians is taking an interesting stance on this whole thing. He basically said that it had nothing to do with Tom Brady. It was a decision made by the GM, Jason Light, and Arians himself. He said he was questioned about the allegations from women against Antonio Brown, which are still taking place. And he just said he's going to let the courts do its job, and if it's found out to be true, he won't be with us. And the only message that Arians gave to Antonio Brown is, quote, "Be a team player or be gone." So I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how soon it will take place. I can't find anything about when he will actually join the team.
But to Chaos Blast's last comment, I actually, and it's on the show, you can go back and check the tape, I switched my allegiance to the Bucks before Brady signed with them.
This is true. We have the tape to back this up. It's absolutely true.
When I became a Bucks fan, I was actually thinking that the likeliest scenario was that Phillip Rivers was going to sign with them because that was after, he'd moved his family to Florida, right? And so everyone was thinking that Phillip Rivers would go on the retirement tour in Tampa.
Have they all finally gotten there? Because I figured they took the wagon train across with him and 17 kids.
But the point is that I was already on board when Tom Brady came by, and honestly, like I said, it's just one of those things where it's as much as you hate Tom Brady, he's fun to watch. And as someone who's suffered through enough Chargers football, just being able to watch a quarterback who comes back from leads instead of blows them is refreshing. So I'm just enjoying the ride while it lasts.
Yeah, so it looks like he's not going to join the team. They believe he's going to make his debut week 9 against the Saints, which will be November 8th. So
okay, that'll be interesting.
So I think it has to do with COVID restrictions, and then probably needs a week.
I mean, that's probably for the. I mean, that's probably for the best. I don't see Antonio Brown as someone who would responsibly social distance.
Well, no. I mean, who's to say on that? But I will tell you this: that if he can play 85% of what he did with the Steelers and keep his act together, oh, geez.
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, though, that was sort of the thing that we said when he signed with the Patriots, which is like, if he can keep his act together, it's going to be great. But of course, they released him. And I don't even think, maybe my timeline is wrong. Maybe someone can correct me. But from what I recall from that whole Patriots stint, what happened was he signed for them. He played a game. The sexual harassment allegations came out, but he wasn't actually cut until screenshots of him threatening the women via text message were leaked. And then that's when the Patriots cut him.
It seems to me like he lasted a week. Like he was signed, played, and was gone.
So
that's how I remember it.
So it seems like, I mean, yeah, obviously I would very much like Antonio Brown to, shut up and play football and be a team player. And, if he can do that at a reasonable level compared to, what Greg said, matching his level at Pittsburgh, even just partially, it would be great. Absolutely. But as a fan, I have to admit I am worried because I don't think necessarily that he's capable of that because, you looked in Oakland and it's like, oh, Oakland's got a young, Oakland now Las Vegas, but they were Oakland then, where it's like, if you have a young promising team, if AB keeps his head down, he could really contribute here. Oh, he went to the Patriots. He's with, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. If he can keep his head down, he can really contribute here. And now it's the Bucs. Again, he's with Tom Brady again, and he's got a great supporting cast on offense. If he can keep his head down, he'll be okay. But after the last 2 times, I'm not sure if that's possible.
Well, let's not forget too that this was the guy that almost froze his own feet off with what was it, like a cryogenic chamber or something like that he went into?
Yeah.
So he's interesting. I'll say that. And he's talented, but like you said, Mike, if he can't, it's just, he's very volatile. I don't know if volatile is the right word, but unpredictable, I think would be a good word for him, where you just don't know what you're going to get. And
given his social media,
oh God,
given his social media posts, I mean, granted, I'm not a psychiatrist. This is not a diagnosis by any stretch of the imagination, but it does seem to me, just as a casual observer, that he might actually suffer from bipolar disorder because he goes from if you look at his social media posts, he'll go from bad mouthing the entire NFL and be like, I don't need you. I'm tired of you exploiting me. And then he'll post why won't the NFL let me play? I just want to play football. Why won't they let me play? So it seems to me like there actually might be some, bipolarness going on there.
Well, he wouldn't be the first guy in that league to have, issues with that. I mean, so sure, why not? But
I mean, Brandon Marshall comes to mind as a guy, another wide receiver who, was very much a mercurial and divisive person who, ruined locker rooms. And at the same time, he won a lot of people over and was incredibly, incredibly talented. But he, on the other hand, acknowledged that he had mental illness, advocated for it. It didn't make him, any more easy to deal with. He was still a relatively insufferable teammate from, from what's been documented. I don't know how Antonio Brown is as far as a teammate, being a teammate is concerned, but as far as being a distraction, you almost can't. I mean, you're bringing in a guy like that. That locker room in Tampa is already chock full of egos, and then you bring in this guy who's just larger than life in all the worst ways. And I don't. I mean, it's one thing, I guess, if you think that Tom Brady can kind of be the horse whisperer and kind of chill him out a little bit and have him just revert to form. But that's a big ask. That's a big ask. I don't know if Zach's going to come back. So
yeah, he's for those of you that may have joined us late, they've got the wildfire situation taking place. It's reached Orange County where Zach lives, and he might be dealing with some stuff there. So I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah. I think I'm going to take him out of the conversation just to save some internet bandwidth here, if we don't mind.
That's fine. So hopefully all is well with Zach and his people. But I figured since we're on the verge or on the topic of the NFL, we might as well get our spin stuff. Just do that. Check in with that if that's cool.
Yeah, sure. What's it called, Mike? Spin the wheel, make the deal.
Spin the wheel, make the deal. It's an old WCW segment.
There we go.
Wheel. Make the deal. All right. There we go.
I had my first loss this week, which I'm happy to have because I picked my Browns to lose and they won. So I'm okay with that.
So right now, yeah. So there's a 3-way tie for the top. Zach, Mike, and Greg are all 3-1. I am the lowest of the low at 2-2. I was wrong about the Panthers and Saints, but so this will be Zach's pick. Let's see who Zach is picking in week 8. Raiders and Browns. So he'll have a tough.
Oh, well, at least I don't have to deal with them this time.
And let's go ahead and get Mike's up here once I remove them. There we go. It's from Mike. I did Bengals.
Titans and Bengals. Wow. The Titans lost to the Steelers, but, 2 undefeated teams. One of them lost. God damn it, Greg. I think I'm getting some of your irrational confidence for the Titans.
You just got to go with it, man. You just got
to ride it, right? And not fight it. And, it's the Bengals. I can't. The Bengals have a bright future, but the future's not today, so Titans.
Tell you this with the Bengals. I think they're a good, bad team. If they had any kind of defense at all, they would be a tough out for a lot of teams, but they don't, and here we are. Okay, who's next? Andy, right?
Yeah, it's my pick. Yeah, so let's see what happens here. Colts and Lions. That's actually that's not as easy as it looks. I mean, the Lions aren't great. The Colts are above average. I will go with the man. It's hard to say. I will go with the Colts.
Oh, see, I would have picked the Lions.
I know, but I can't. I don't trust in. Don't trust Detroit. They take one step forward and they'll take another step back.
Right? Yeah, they're just as likely to win as they are to lose by 70.
Yeah.
Okay, here's mine. Let's see what we get here.
Let's see what Greg is pulling. Speak of the devil.
Oh God, really?
NFC East, Cowboys at Eagles.
For the NFC East lead. Who gets to 3 games first?
Oh, it's an easy choice. I mean, the Cowboys are down to Ned Skeldon or whoever the fuck it is. Eagles all the way in that, especially since they're home.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can't imagine the Cowboys winning that game. But anything can happen. You never know.
So there are the picks.
Hoping for another tie myself. That would really just.
Oh, geez. Could you imagine? Yeah, right. So that would make the Eagles, what would they be, like 6-8-2? That's not even good enough. No. We got to start rooting for the 32s. That's the only option we have left here, really, because that tie messes up everything. It just messes everything up.
Greg, have you been watching any of the World Series at all?
It's funny you ask. I was kind of half paying attention Saturday, and I saw, I'm like, it's the bottom of the ninth. I'm going to watch because you never know. You might get to see one of those crazy World Series endings. And sure enough, it's exactly what I got. So, yeah, a little bit here and there.
We got a crazy World Series ending, and then it was almost immediately Uno reverse carded.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I've been watching the World Series, actually, living in Tampa, having friends who want to watch it. And it is just it's been some good baseball, but last night's game, the Rays come off that amazing 9th inning, and the series is all tied up, and then the Dodgers just come out hitting everything, and now we're right back to where we were, I guess. Like it is. I don't know what to make of this, but I think the Dodgers are probably the better team.
I would think so, and I think that Tyler Glasnow, that starter for the Rays, is not had a good World Series so far. Has he
Oh,
gotten lit up
God,
twice
no.
so far? Yeah. So
No, like he was he'd given up two in the first, the top of the first. So and they had and that was actually with the Dodgers kind of underperforming because they left guys stranded on base by the end of the inning. So he has not had a good World Series at all. But
no, his ERA in the World Series right now is 9.64. Yeah, not very good.
So I would say that, of the World Series, it's been, again, good. It's been good baseball, but the Dodgers, I think, are by far the better team, and it's just up to whether or not they can get over their own, I guess, Dodgerness and actually close it out.
Right.
Because by all accounts, they should have won the World Series last night. Like, that ninth inning was insane, and it's the type of stuff that you're not going to see for like another 25 years.
No. Well, I mean, if you look at the way that thing transpired, okay, there was a base hit that more than likely is going to score the run to tie the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that should have been it. And then they kicked the ball around in the outfield. They kicked it around in the infield, and then they had the guy, the runner on third, I don't remember what his name is, falls down. And they get the ball home, and the catcher, all he has to do is catch it and look, but he doesn't. He's thinking that the guy's running, so he turns around with the sweep tag, and the ball comes out.
Yeah.
And so the guy crawls to the plate and scores. It was great to watch if you don't have a horse in the race. But when you think about it, was that really a great win for Tampa? Or did the Dodgers just like throw shit away and kick the ball over the infield, and that's why they lost? I'm going to go with the latter. I think that the Dodgers, I mean, you never know what happens if it's tied 7-7, you go extra innings, but that winning run really should have never scored in the fashion that it did.
No,
I think.
And it's just, it's insane, of course, but I think that, I don't know, the Rays had a shot. Like, it's like, okay, yes, they were lucky, right? You can say they're lucky, but still, they were gifted a reprieve, and last night was their chance to take advantage of that. Series is all tied up. Winner is on the cusp, and they came out and from, pitch one, inning one, were utterly mediocre against a Dodgers team that was really pissed off and came in to prove something.
Well, yeah, because if you win a game like they won in Game 4, you've got to really capitalize on that. And if you don't,
that's a gift that does not come around often.
Right, and they didn't. And I'm with you, Mike. I think that just if you look at lineup versus lineup, the Dodgers they're stacked, man. I mean, Mookie Betts, and Bellinger and
Vanilla Will Smith, who they keep insisting on calling by his full name.
The Dodgers have hit they've got home runs from 9 different guys in the World Series.
Yeah,
or they have 9 home runs in the World Series, which is the most by a team. And I think all but one guy in the regular lineup has hit a home run in the World Series.
Yeah,
it's just kind of incredible how deep that team is, and but it goes to show kind of what we talked about with this team for 4 or 5 years now. We're like, they are built to win a World Series, and the fact that they kept losing them was extraordinary. And now they can right that wrong.
The fact that they kept losing them, it's one of those things, right? Where if they keep losing them, it's like maybe you're just the Sharks of baseball, and you're just, and like for whatever reason this core as it's constructed can't get over the hump, and it's like in those cases it's like fine, maybe this team is just not meant to win World Series. But then the Astros cheating scandal came out, and when that happened,
sympathetic figure,
when that happened, it completely rewrote everything, because now you're going, wait a minute, maybe they should have won in 2017. Like, Clayton Kershaw is probably the best pitcher alive today, but, he's probably not that hard to get hits off of if you know what's coming.
No, no pitcher is. If you're a major league hitter of any amount of ability, and you know what the pitch is going to be, then you might not hit 800 against him, but you're going to do okay.
Yeah,
if you know what he's throwing, because no one's so good that you can't hit them no matter what.
And so, like, I don't like to say the whole thing like, oh, Team X deserves to win a championship, because we've seen, particularly in the NHL, which tends to be our focus, but we've seen it in other sports as well, where, you have a really talented core of guys who, for whatever reason, can't get over the hump. And it's always sort of this thing. It's like, well, do they deserve to win? No, they deserve to win when they actually win. Like, this the Tampa Bay Lightning deserved every bit of ridicule that they got for getting swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets last year.
Yes, they did. Absolutely.
And for as talented as that team was, year in and year out, they only deserved to win the Stanley Cup when they actually finally won it this year. That's when they deserved to win. And so usually I would have the position of, as talented as this Dodgers team is, they don't deserve anything. But the fact that cheating scandal happened really throws everything off, because now, as a baseball fan, I have to start looking and going like, well, maybe they would have won if, the playing field were level.
Well, let's not forget too, didn't the Red Sox win in 2018?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't Alex Cora their manager at that point?
Yes.
I'm just saying,
Yeah. But the Red Sox won, it was kind of a domination. I think that was like a 5-game series, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the 7-game slugfest that the Astros series was.
Well, I know this. If the Dodgers win this thing and Clayton Kershaw, who's had a pretty good series, ends up getting the MVP, the first words out of my mouth when they interview me is "fuck you, Houston." That's what I would say right out of the gate.
I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Where you have this generational talent like Clayton Kershaw, and I'm kind of rooting for him. I want him to. Again, I don't necessarily think anyone deserves to win a World Series unless they win it. But I can't help but look at what happened in 2017 and go, dude, you were probably robbed.
Yeah. And the other thing with Kershaw too is, for years he got dogged with the playoff choker label, because before he was getting his pitches read to him from the Astros, the Cardinals kept killing him every year. Remember?
Okay, yeah, but that's just Cardinal magic bullshit.
Right, they did it the right way.
They did it the right way. They didn't have to cheat. They just had, as Andy once said, a bunch of guys named Matt, white guys named Matt, and quadruple Jesus just hitting homers out of nowhere.
Don't forget September Call Up Doug.
And Vintage Doug.
And Vintage Doug.
But at the same time, Kershaw was still like the most dominant pitcher of the era at the time.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't figure out how to pitch in the postseason. And now he's pitching some of his best postseason ball in this World Series. So it's beyond the he gets like the double redemption of, not only did we think you absolutely sucked in the playoffs, not only did you get a World Series stolen from you from the Astros, and now you get to win it. So hopefully for the Dodgers' sake, they do it tomorrow and they don't push it to Game 7.
Right.
Because if they go into Game 7, they're going to be gripping it a little too tight, and it may just.
Although I don't know, because if it goes 7, Buehler's starting for him, and he's had a pretty good postseason himself.
But if you can avoid Game 7, you always avoid Game 7, because we've seen it. And basketball, not so much in basketball, but we've seen it in baseball and we've seen it in hockey, where anything can happen. Imagine the World Series getting decided on that play from Saturday night.
Oh,
that's
God.
it. How many times have we seen, like in a Game 7 in the NHL in the Stanley Cup playoffs, where a weird puck bounce ends a series? And you go, wow, that kind of sucked. Because anyway, I think the Dodgers need to close it out. I'm with Zach, but I just want to say something about the Houston Astros that really irks the hell out of me.
They suck, and you hate them, because that's how I feel.
Well, if you remember when they changed uniforms, I really liked the change that they did. And I got a hat, I got a T-shirt, and I've also got an orange throwback Astros.
And now you can't wear it without looking like an asshole.
You think I can walk out of the fucking house with any of that stuff on now? Nope, forget it. That's like $60 down the drain. Yeah, fuck you, Houston. I'll say it for Clayton Kershaw.
I bought New Era Authentic. I pay New Era Authentic prices for your shit, man.
Yeah.
I have sorry, go ahead.
They lied their way into Greg's heart with a Roundel logo too.
That's right, the fucking assholes. That's what I'm saying.
I was just gonna say, talking about like hats in the World Series and all that. Did you ever think you would see the Tampa Bay Devil Ray grace the World Series stage?
I had another moment last night. One of those "you're a uni fan and you realize just how niche you are" moments, because I pointed that out and nobody noticed. And then and then after the Rays started that game off, giving up a few easy runs, I pointed out maybe they shouldn't have worn the Devil Ray hat, and then like people still didn't get it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna shut up about the hat now because
I was kind of excited because I'm like, wow, the powder blue jerseys, some of those guys wearing the neon socks, like. This is so awesome that this uniform gets to be in the World Series, and then they lost, and it's like, damn it, they're going to wear that navy blue nonsense for the rest of this, aren't they? They're going to just be dark and boring.
Yeah,
Mike, I'll just say we were with you in spirit when you were having that conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And trying to, get people to, and they're like, oh, it's just, it's one of the hats they have. It's like, but it's like, it's the Devil Rays hat. It's like, oh, is it? Like, I'm not from here. How do I know this and you don't? Like,
I don't know how people don't notice some stuff that's just so obvious. When the Browns switched uniforms, I had 5 or 6 people go, I don't see the difference. I'm like, how can you not see the difference between these 2 uniforms? How can you miss that? They just whatever.
One of my first cases of that actually were when the Indians, and this was years back in the 2000s when they introduced silver.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You remember they downplayed the red and they started introducing silver.
Yep.
And I remember saying to a friend of mine, it's like, oh, like the Indians changed uniforms, and he was like, no, they didn't. I'm like, yeah, no, they added silver, and like I even had like pictures to show, like, see, like here, like they added like, and he actually went. And keep in mind, like we're both like in high school at this point, right? And so he's like, oh, well, I guess they did, but it's still the same uniform. And I was
Mike, so like allow me to give you my audio visual presentation of how this happened.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my. As you can see, I introduced a silver key line here. Some say it makes the word mark pop, but I personally think it muddies a classic identity.
I bought one of those silver outline road jerseys for like $10 at TJ Maxx, whatever.
And then
our friend McCarthy brought up a question on Twitter, which I thought was interesting. Is that Devil Ray hat the worst hat to ever be in a World Series?
Yes.
See, I love it. I unapologetically love all that 90s garbage. So,
see, here's the thing. I appreciate it on a certain level, right? Like, I do appreciate it on a certain level, but like, worst hat in the World Series? Yeah.
I mean, the Texas Rangers made a World Series. That hat is
that hat's not like ugly, though. It's just oatmeal.
Yeah.
They could choose to pick a color.
Yeah,
Are you red or are you blue? Pick one.
I mean, I will say this about the Texas Rangers: that I have never liked the T that they've worn for their hats.
The thorny T.
The thorny. Well, I like the thorny T from their word mark, but then they added drop shadows to it for the hat, and it just looks bad. But again, the Texas Rangers hat is just like oatmeal flavored. It's not like bad.
Well, yeah, that team. Screw them.
I think we could make an argument that there's very few are the baseball hats that are flat out bad.
Okay, no, wait. I realized one. I remembered one. There is one worse. The Tampa Bay's Devil Rays hat is not the worst hat in the World Series.
Okay, which one is?
Colorado Rockies.
Oh yeah, I forgot. No, that's an objectively bad hat.
I hate that hat.
The CR with the black and the purple bill.
I hate the CR logo so much.
I don't think it's bad. It's boring. It's baseball.
Yeah, I would put it in the Rangers category. It's not terrible, but it's
okay.
Yeah, it's
hear me out. Hear me out. There are two. It's just my opinion, but there are two acceptable design choices that you can go for a baseball hat. You can have your city monogram, or you can have a logo. Now, as gaudy as the Rays hat was, it is just simply a logo of a manta ray. It's fine. The Rockies piss me off because they work the R in. Like, it should just be a C.
Well, then do you have the same complaint about the Twins?
The Twins,
which is one of our favorite hats, Mike.
Well, okay. See, the reason I give the Twins a pass is that it stands for Twin Cities, so it is like a locale thing.
But their name is the Minnesota Twins.
If it was okay,
I'm going to go with Mike on this one. I think he's right. It's more Twin Cities than it is Twins.
If it was an MT, I'd agree with you, but it's a TC, which makes it
right. But that's what I'm saying. If you're mad at the Colorado Rockies for being a CR, but you're not mad at the Minnesota Twins for being TC.
Well, no, because it's like it's like Twin Cities, like not
Right,
Minnesota Twins.
Right, so it has nothing to do with the team's name.
It's a fun, quirky thing, Zach. These rules make perfect sense in my head. In my head, it all makes perfect sense.
I'm right there with you, Mike. I'm like, yeah, he's exactly right.
I love the hat. I'm just devil's advocating you here. Like, if you're be consistent with your rules, if you're gonna have rules.
Well, that and another problem that I have with the Rockies is that I think it's way too muddled because it's like dark purple and black, which is just. I don't know.
I think I'm running through my head like the World Series and trying to think of a worse hat.
Those old Marlins teams, those are pretty bad.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
the hats weren't too bad though, were they?
I didn't like them. They're not great.
When the Diamondbacks won, do you have a feeling about the original Diamondbacks?
I've never liked it, but that's just me.
I like the purple one with the A, but that black one with the snake D was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Is that the one that they actually won in?
They won it. They won wearing the purple. They won in the purple.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what? I really liked that Diamondbacks team until Kurt Schilling proved to be a garbage person.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know,
the way you said garbage person made it sound like he's literally like somebody stuffed with trash.
He might be at this point.
That may be correct. That may be actually correct.
I actually thought of it more like he was just a guy that did like the trash, a garbage man that was bad at it.
No, that's far too noble of a trade for him. I have some breaking NFC East news. Here, by the way.
Oh wow! Okay.
Breaking. Go ahead if you have some bulletin music here.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, I got a bulletin music. Sure, hold on a second here. Let me find it really quick.
It's not very breaking if we have to wait for it.
Well, yeah, I wasn't planning on this, so.
Well, that's why it's breaking.
Yeah, hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Got to get one of these in too. Okay.
All right. Breaking news as of, probably 2 hours ago. Cowboys defensive coordinator Mike Nolan was on a conference call with the press. Yeah. And they had to put it on hold because he had Tabasco sauce on his finger and he got some of it in his eye.
Yeah.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, so good.
So
at least he didn't jerk off on camera, so that's something.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Okay, I have to talk about that for a second because it always fascinates me. Yeah, because this always fascinates me. I have to wonder, and every time I see anything nutty like this, I'm like, okay, what made you think today was the day that I'm going to go on a Zoom call and right in the middle of it, I'm going to start masturbating? That just fascinates me. I'm sorry. It's like, how do you get there? How?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you because
that's what I mean. No one ever does. But yeah, it's like how do you come up to the point where you go, well, this is a good idea? Come on. It's never a good idea, ever.
The one thing that's weird, and I assume you're referencing the Jeffrey Toobin.
Yeah, Jeffrey Toobin, yeah.
Oh, the greatest part is that he writes for...
Was there more?
No, he writes for The New Yorker. Like, one of those sophisticated, like...
Yeah, they should be a man of culture. Like,
he's a legal analyst for CNN. Like, you should know that that's legally not acceptable in the workplace.
You would think.
But to pull us back to less embarrassing behavior, I guess. Good job, Cowboys. The man in charge of your defense got flummoxed by some hot sauce. So
I will always respect.
How about them Cowboys?
I will always respect Mike Nolan as the guy that brought back suits to the NFL side.
Yes.
Like I remember that 1 week experiment.
Yeah, when he had to have Nike make him a suit.
No, Reebok. It was a Reebok.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it was. I remember that because the NFL briefly started selling like Reebok branded suits on their shop.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he was what was his dad's name? He was a coach for the 49ers too. It was like a tribute to his dad.
Like he wanted to wear a suit.
Yeah.
He wanted to wear a suit, but like the contract says coaches have to wear like officially licensed gear, so Reebok had to make him a suit, which was fun. Didn't Jack Del Rio do it for a game too?
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah.
There was a brief movement where there was a lot of NFL coaches that were like wanting to, bring some class back to the sideline. I think Bill Belichick was even considering being on board with that. Did he wear a suit for a game?
No.
No.
So
Never.
Belichick will cling to his hoodies until he dies. Like,
Yeah, that dude would wear even worse clothes if he could get away with it. I think. He'd
I
show
don't
him-
think so.
Belichick breaks out the polo shirt occasionally when they make it to the Super Bowl.
So what? Real quick on Belichick. So now that the Patriots aren't good, and Brady's having a great year in Tampa, what does this mean?
I think it means that the Patriots are bad.
That's what I think too. I just thought I'd ask.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's a case of, I kind of honestly think that Cam Newton getting Corona kind of threw a wrench into their season, because they were not having a bad go of it early on.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true. Yeah.
And then Cam gets COVID, and they have to go with Brian Hoyer, and they suck. And then Cam comes back, and he doesn't quite have the same, spark to him that he did earlier in the year.
This time
So,
they didn't even go back to Brian Hoyer. They went to Jared Stidham.
I don't know, like this Patriots team, they weren't the dominant world beaters that they've been before, but they were looking pretty good at the start of the season. So if Cam doesn't get COVID, and do they pull out a few more wins? I don't know, but I don't think it means anything other than that the Patriots are bad.
I don't know if it has anything to do with Cam getting COVID. I think it's just one of those things where, as it always happens, teams figure you out. And if you don't have any other cards to play, then what are you going to do?
Well, how long ago did he go down with COVID? Was it a couple weeks?
Sounds right.
3 weeks ago. Yeah.
The whole timeline of the NFL season's been thrown off. Thanks, Titans.
Well, have you guys seen the Bill Belichick commercial? I think it's a Subway commercial.
Yeah,
They
the
cuts off the
Subway.
guy's sleeves. Yeah.
No, not that one. That's not the one I was.
Oh, the one
of
of the woman who's going into.
Right.
Yeah.
So literally, it's all it is Bill Belichick is standing outside of a Subway, and this woman goes up to him and says, "Did I do something wrong or something like that?" And all it is,
she's going into the burger place next door, and she's on the phone, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to stop by and get a burger," and then Bill Belichick is like glaring at her.
he just
and she's
stares
like,
at her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was
she-
kind of weird.
I mean, but I mean, to me, like, I imagine Bill Belichick, his agent, on the phone is like, "Bill, they want you to say this cutesy line," and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that." And it's like, "Well, what will you do?" It's like, I'm just going to stand here and I'm going to stare. You guys have me. You guys have me for 30 minutes. I'm just going to stand here. That's it. Start shooting now because I got to leave. It wouldn't surprise me if he just like make it work. I got shit to do. I don't care about your stupid commercial.
It's better than that Nick Saban Aflac commercial.
Oh God, yeah.
Like Nick Saban, surprisingly, not a good actor.
Who knew?
Like the whole thing, he just like he's making gestures like he's trying to be like, "I'm fun, Nick Saban," but his voice level doesn't change. It's very monotone. So it's just kind of like, "Oh yeah, I can't play favorites. I'm just here to be the coach of this football team at Aflac University. Come get our deals."
You just talk me on shit.
I'm legitimately shocked that Nick Saban and Bill Belichick agreed to be spokesman for something. Like,
I am too. Especially
that-
Belichick. Yeah.
like I would have thought that he like the agent would have called him and it's like, "Hey, Bill, Subway wants to do." No,
Ugh.
like that's a distraction.
Saban's done commercials before, but I think this is the first time for Belichick.
I don't remember any before
Unless
this.
he's just thinking like, Brady's gone, I'm going to start winding my career down. Why not make a couple extra bucks on the
Gotta
side?
get that cash. That
They
cool
just-
Subway
just-
cash.
Get some nest egg money, put away, and just put a little money
Look,
toward a
man,
boat.
Bill Belichick is probably the best spokesman they could have after their last one.
Well,
Jesus.
Bill Belichick doesn't seem like he's controversial at all. Like,
I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, there's only one way to go. I mean, you could literally just have nothing. You could have
he
an
could
inanimate object, and it would be an upgrade from.
You could put a fucking like a pack of baboons out in front of the place, and it would be better than their last one. Come on.
a pack of baboons holding a $5 footlong deal sign.
Or just tearing a person to shreds, it would still be better.
Oh man! Now I remember that Jared exists and everything he did.
He's still alive?
Unfortunately, I'm sure he is. Yeah.
I don't think he
guys like
died.
that. Those guys like that don't usually last too long in prison, from my understanding.
No, I'm sure he's in some form of protective custody and
Solitary or
You
something.
know what? I'm sorry, but you do what he did. You don't get protective custody. It's like, hey, you know what? You shouldn't have done this.
It's one of those things where it's like, unfortunately, the law gets really like this is gonna sound bad what I'm about to say, but it's like, unfortunately, the law gets super fair. And it's one of those things where it's like, if the guy's gonna, if we all know he's gonna get shanked, then we're gonna make sure that he doesn't, right?
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, that's probably.
But on one hand, like, I do get that, because it's like, yes, we are a civil society, and
right.
But on the other, I do agree with you, Greg. Where it's like, on the other hand, it's like, just toss him into general for 10 minutes and let what happens happen.
There should always be a little loophole somewhere where you can get around the fairness of the law when necessary.
Yeah,
we should always appeal to our better angels. But there are times we just go, yeah, you know what? Fuck that. Throw him into the mob. You know.
Yeah. And I mean, he's got to stay alive for the inevitable Netflix documentary about him, where they, interview him in prison. And he's like morbidly obese and like lost himself, and just looks like a fucking. Doesn't even look like himself.
What's that documentary called? I'm trying to think of a sandwich pun.
Making a Murderer, making a $5 footlong.
Expired meats.
Oh,
expired meats. Yeah. So,
oh my God,
I'm adding that for, by the way, for my GTOV entry, Jared Fogle documentary.
We are going to burn in hell for
expired meat. Hey, God.
Oh my God, that's funny, man. I mean, it's not supposed to be, but
that shit ain't funny, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm very distracted watching the Rams-Bears game here on my other screen.
Is this your first time seeing the Rams full uniforms live in person?
Live in person, yes. I've seen them wear the bone before, but this is the first. And it's one of those things where at a glance, not bad.
Right.
But there's just something.
But then you look at it, right?
Yeah,
it's just a little off. The helmets, especially, are really bad. The helmets are really bad.
That's my assessment so far. Is like, I don't mind watching them on TV because the angles are far enough away to where it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But when you zoom in, it's like, yeah. That's why I so much prefer when they wear the yellow pants, because at a glance, when I just kind of look up, it's like, oh yeah, the Rams.
Yeah, they look like the Rams, sort of, with that.
Yeah.
The problem with me, though, are all the details, because I've said this on the show before, but I have looked at that helmet and I have tried to see the ram horn, and I can't.
No, I can't either. It's a million things. None of them are a ram horn.
I know exactly what they're going for. I know they're trying to replicate like the segmented look of a actual ram horn, and I'm looking at it and I'm trying to see it, and it's not happening.
I agree.
But then you just see other dumb things, like the stupid little name patch that they put on there, or the glossy rubbery numbers, or the gradients in the case of the home look, or in the case of the bone look, right? You see, it's like, wait a minute, that jersey is slightly like, that's not white. That's dingy.
The jersey, that we wore for 3 weeks and never washed.
That's the dingy white shirt that you've never washed, that you go to the gym in, or you and wait, and then you go, wait, is that an off-white jersey with yellow and white stripe? Why? So it is one of those things where, like, I agree with the sentiment that certain combinations look fine if you're just kind of watching from a distance, but I know what those uniforms look like up close. I know all the details, and I won't be able to take my eyes off those details when they.
I agree. Totally.
When I see him,
I will just maintain that if they just got rid of the dumb gradients, I'd live with it.
You could live with it, yeah. I think you still want to change after 5 years, but you could live with it. They'd be like, all right, this is not the worst thing in the world, because as long as Atlanta exists, you're never gonna beat.
Although I want to echo, Greg, what you said, which is that these Falcons, not Falcons uniforms, although I guess for the Falcons uniforms too, but when it comes to these Rams uniforms, like, whoever designed this should be a fireable offense.
I agree. I just don't know how this got past. If you're going to take input from the fans, and I don't think anyone wanted this. I mean, maybe somebody did, but fuck them.
Well, no, it's they took all the feedback they got through to the blender and said, you said all these things. It's like, I mean, yeah, we did, but this is not what we wanted.
Like,
See, this is why the NFL, all sports need to institute an aesthetic review board.
Well,
and we could be on it and be like, yeah, no, you don't want to do that. Trust us.
The real problem, like when it comes to the gradients, is they had 5 people tell them, oh no, we really want the white and blue jerseys. And then you had 95 people say, no, but we actually just want the blue and yellow. And then they're like, oh well, some people said they liked white, so maybe we'll give it a little bit.
I think that's what's his name, Dioff.
Yeah,
Denoff, because he's written hard for the blue and white look, and I think that's one of those things where the market was telling him no, blue and yellow, and he just couldn't let go of his, pet project.
Oh yeah, I remember before they even moved. Maybe it was right after they moved.
No, I remember when they were still in St. Louis. They were.
I remember talking about it. I remember, but there was a tweet that came out or a story or something that said they were seriously considering going back to the blue and white.
I remember,
and that really came around when they moved back, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to put the white horns in the helmets for."
I distinctly remember a story when they were still in St. Louis where they were interviewing Denoff in his office, and he had a bunch of old Rams helmets behind him on the bookcase, and he pointed to like the blue and white one, and he's like, that's personally my favorite. Like he made a point of saying like that he liked that one.
It's mine too, but I'll be the first to admit that it's not the best choice.
You know what? I don't know why it just struck me like this. You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if you guys have seen on HBO Max the new Looney Tunes cartoons that they've made.
No.
Okay. Something they decided to do was with the new redesigned Bugs Bunny, he now has yellow gloves.
Oh no.
And it's like,
isn't that an old thing? Like it's like a throwback.
I feel like
he
that's
had
an old
yellow gloves in his very first appearance, and that was it.
No, man, you don't mess with Bugs Bunny. Period.
We're doing a throwback here, so we're going to make it look like it was his first appearance. But it's like that in all of them now, so it's kind of like.
Well, it's like that was his first appearance, but Bugs Bunny has white gloves.
Right. And that's why now we get to this, and it's like, oh well, the Rams wore blue and white. It's like, I mean, they did, but nobody cares.
No, I think
they only wore those for 4 years, maybe
that's
5.
What I mean. That's what I mean. It's like the same sort of idea where it's like, but we didn't. That's not what they look like. What are you doing? Okay.
Well, anyway. Well, you guys want to go watch your the latest version of the Bass Bowl we've had this year, which is like our 5th one, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a thrilling exchange of punts thus far. So
kudos to the Colorado State Rams for keeping it real and keeping the horn helmet.
That's
alive,
right, man.
Yeah.
And
okay, so looking at it, it was 64-72. They were blue and white. So
was it that long? I thought it was only. Okay, all right.
So 8 years. 8 years.
Not that long, but still, I thought it was less than that.
Well, 8 years, but then you count out all of the years that they've worn blue and yellow, and it is much longer.
You want to know why? Like, I have a thing for those blue and white uniforms is because that was like from like 70 or something like that. That's when I first became aware of them. So to me, my first memory of the Rams is in blue and white.
And like they did have a memorable group, the Fearsome Foursome,
right?
Front.
Yeah,
like there is a bit of history to it, but like not enough to like incorporate into the uniforms by 25%.
No, and when I saw them when they came back to LA, and now granted they were a bastardized version of the old white and blues, but I knew right away, I'm like, this doesn't work. It just doesn't work. As much as I wanted to see it, once I saw it, even in the most screwed up fashion, I was like, this just isn't going to fly. They got to stay with the blue and gold. Simple as that. So. Anyway, we get ready to wrap it up and go watch some football.
Let's watch football.
All right, folks.
Football.
Well, I will say good luck to both of you. I don't care who wins, and we'll see what happens.
Latest.
So, follow us on Facebook. Jesus. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, YouTube, and all the other places that fine podcasting is sold. We will see you all next week.
Adios.
Go vote.
Latest.
Yeah, go vote.